Talk about a movie that was made for me, right? Ju-on versus Ringu, Grudge versus Ring, Kayako versus Sadako. So let me just gush about this for a minute. I have always said there needs to be more versus movies. I can never understand why in the entire history of movie making there's only like 5 or so movies that pitted famous characters against one another. Like, why not? They're guaranteed moneymakers, even if they suck, which they often do. But when I asked for versus movie, I was never expecting this. Like, where did this come from? It always seemed like Ju-on was this tiny little thing that I was into. Nobody I ever talked to seemed to know about them, and yet here's this big versus movie that comes out of nowhere in which she's fighting Sadako from the ring. A series which is constantly confused for Ju-on. I truly can't believe I'm even talking about this. You know, this started as an April Fool's joke. On April 1st, they changed the website of Ju-on the Final to tease this movie, but then they actually revealed it later as the real thing. And this ad campaign? What is this ad campaign? Like, they're playing baseball? Like, politically debating and posting pictures on Instagram? I'm done. That's it. Okay, breathe. Let's actually talk about it. Massive spoiler alert, by the way, but I think you know that. So the film does suffer from one of the most common problems of these versus movies, which is it takes a very long time for it to get started. They have to set up both the Ring plot and the Grudge plot before merging the two together. And I fucking love how casual it is at this point. There's a teacher teaching a class about the curses. The Grudge house is just next door to one of the protagonists. You could just go in if you want. Everyone knows it's cursed, but you know, it's just there. They find the Ring VHS in a fucking thrift shop. And they're like, yeah, no one uses VHS anymore. Like, do you have to be so self-aware about it? There is another problem. How do I put this? Did you play Mario & Luigi Paper Jam? If you have, then you already know where I'm going with this. This game combined both Mario & Luigi and Paper Mario, but it was really more a Mario & Luigi game with Paper Mario elements. This is kind of the same thing. It's really more of a Ring story that just happens to have the Grudge in it. Much of the story is revolved around these girls and their teacher studying the Ring curse and how to get rid of it, while the Grudge scene just kind of happens quickly and without much acknowledgement until the last act. You'd think I'd be disappointed by that, but I don't even care. The scenes were still great. I don't think I'm a proper judge for how scary these films are anymore. I mean, at this point, my reactions are literally the opposite of what they're going for. But everything becomes amazing once these two enter the scene. This fucking curse expert and his little blind assistant child over there. This guy's a complete dick. He's such a blunt asshole, but he's good at his job and he just knows all there is to know about these curses. And it's like, yeah, stop fucking whining about it. He comes in and just completely debunks the whole you can pass the Ring curse along from person to person to save them thing. Like, the girls try that and they're like, oh yeah, you actually believe that would work? Suicide doesn't even work. That's something I've been wondering. She fucking tries to kill herself and he's like, nope, that won't work either. Exorcism doesn't work? Nothing fucking works. This movie proves that more than anything. The only hope they have is to pit Sadako against Kayako. It's great when all the main characters come together and that becomes their final goal, but you can't help but feel like it should have happened like 20 minutes ago. Their plan is pretty much exactly what you think it is. The girl who watched the tape goes into the Ju-on house, and the girl who went into the Ju-on house watches the Ring tape, and it becomes this sort of paradox where the curses kind of conflict with one another. And then we just see what happens. Like, this guy isn't even sure. He's just assuming that this will work and they'll kill each other. I mean, nobody's ever come close to trying this, so yeah, sure, I guess I have my faith in you. But here comes the fight, and it's unfortunately short and mostly off screen. Another predictable problem in these versus movies. Why does it gotta be like that? Why is it so hard to just have your characters fight each other? Now, the cool thing is, it seems like these ghosts can kill each other and that doesn't necessarily end the fight. Like, Jesus, you remember the last review where I was like, I've never seen someone go after Kayako with a knife before? Well, Christ, I never thought I'd see Kayako's head explode. In the end, oh god, the end. They try to seal the two curses together into this well by sacrificing the main protagonist, and for a moment it seems to work, but nope! They fucking fuse into this giant pulsating mass of hair, flesh, and eyeballs. What the fuck? fuck am I looking at? And they call it Sayako. This form is literally called Sayako. They break the seal and turn into this perfect form. Sayako now looks like Sadako, but moves like Kayako and has her own throat gurgle. So they're fused now. Great, they're fused. And they escape and then credits. So now it's fucking canon. The ring and the grudge are the same thing now. I'm so fucking mad. Jesus Christ, the irony. So I guess my job is done again. I'm back up to date with the Ju-on films, and Christ almighty, I am so fucking glad this series has been kept alive to see all of this. I know this video has been mostly me gushing the whole time, but this is fan service. This is clear fan service, and from beginning to end, I was just like, had a big smile going on my face, because this was just such a fun ride. This film is an absolute treat. But where do we go from here? Do we have a Sayako movie now? I've been fooled before into thinking that this franchise was gonna end, so I'm excited to see what comes next. And this movie reminded me, I've never really had much experience watching Ringu or the Ring films. Maybe I'll tackle those some other time. But all in all, this film was just such a great fucking time. So much fun to watch, and Jesus Christ, Sayako?